Welcome to my studio in lovely Idlewild, California. I'm very excited to have you join me today as we together create some amazing fabrics. So let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Karla Leopold, and I am an artist, also a teacher, and an art therapist. And so being an art therapist, I teach a little different than some teachers because I'm more concerned about the process than the product. So we're going to create this amazing fabric, and I'm really excited to see what you do and what you do with your fabric. Here's a little glimpse of what I've been able to do with the gel press and Pebeo. This is some of the beautiful fabric I've been able to create. This is another piece, much like what you're going to do, what I'm going to do today. I've used this for a headband that I wear, and you'll note I have jewelry on that I've made with my painted fabric. My bracelets are from my painted fabric. And the other night I used my fabric and made this really lovely stole bag. So there's the hand-painted fabric sewn into something. So the first thing we need is our gel press plate, and I use the 8x10 because that's going to fit my fabric perfectly. I start with 3 colors. I tell you to use 3 colors because if we get much more than that, we're going to get mud. You'll see at the beginning of the video I will list these materials. And then I don't count these as colors because they're lighteners. There's a glitter and there's a pearlescent, which is my favorite. And let's see, what else? I have cotton fabric. This is 100% cotton, and I wash it and I iron it before I use it. It just makes it crisper and nicer to work with. And to get the strips of fabric I need, I just rip the fabric. I love the frayed edges, so this is ripped about 10 inches wide. The other thing I have on my table is a brayer and a popsicle stick to spread the paint around. And then I just have some basic stencils. These I've had for years, just a basic polka dot, whatever you've got. Or if you don't have any stencils, that's fine too. And the paints are water soluble, so that makes it easy to clean up. And the gel press is super easy too. So let's get started. And so I want you to join me on a playful fun. Let's go do it. So we're back, ready to go. I've got my setup. I use a piece of wax paper underneath my gel press. It just makes cleanup easier. I've got my fabric, I've got my stencils, I've got my paint, and a couple little tools that I might need for marking. So let's go. I like to talk to my students about using the number 3 a lot. So remember I talked about 3 paints. I don't count these 2 as the gold and the white as a color, but we've got the 3 colors going here. We've got the yellow, the pink, and the blue. And I'm going to have a main color. And so I also talk in terms of daddy bear, mommy bear, and baby bear. So those means I'm going to use pink as my daddy bear. So that means I'm going to use more pink than the other colors. And very simply, I'm going to pour it in 3 places. And when I pour it in 3 places, I'm going to pour what I call my daddy bear, which is my biggest one. Then I'm going to do mommy bear, and then I'm going to put baby bear someplace else. So we'll put her over there. And I'm going to wipe off my lid, and I'm going to put the lid back on the paint because that's really important, because spilling a whole bottle of paint is not a fun thing to clean up. So then I'm going to use my yellow. And you can shake this a little or stir it. You don't want to shake it too hard because you don't want bubbles. So once again, then I'm going to do the biggest daddy bear. I'm going to do a mommy bear around in here, and then the baby bear. Wiping off my lid and putting the top back on. And then I'm going to use the blue. Shake it a little bit. And sometimes I have a tendency to use too much paint, so we're going to have to see. I'm guessing already that I probably have a little, quite a bit of paint on here. Now this is my glitter, so there's my daddy, and there's my mommy, and let's put some baby over here. Clean off the lid, put the lid back on. So that's looking pretty exciting. And the white paint that I chose is glitter. So, and I like glitter, I like pop, I like a lot of excitement today. So let's use a little bit of white because that's going to make my pink a really pretty color. Wipe off the rim, put the lid back on. And then one of my favorite paints of all is the Fluorescent paint. Looks fabulous on fabric. I probably should have checked my lids before I started this demo. So wipe my lid. Okay, so I have quite a bit of paint on there. If I use a brayer, I use it very sparingly, very lightly, because I don't want to, I like my colors not to get too messed up. So I might start using the popsicle stick that I use sometimes and spreading my paints all the way to the edges. But it doesn't hurt to leave some blank spots either, because that looks lovely on your fabric. You just don't even necessarily need to cover it all up. So let's see, if I was to use a brayer over here, let me show you. I would use it very, very lightly and very sparingly because it mixes the colors up a lot, and I rather like my colors to be a little bit pure. So, and then I'm going to go in both directions. So, now when I look at that, I'm looking at, I don't like that big blob of pink in the middle, so I'm not sure what's going to happen if we just take some of that out of there. Or I could put, and I'm going to fool around and put a couple lines in there with my stick, a little bit of texture. I could even scrape out some of this. And so I still have a lot of pink in that middle space. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of pearlescent blue in there and just kind of, I'll probably use my popsicle stick and just put just a kind of dot it around there. That kind of breaks that pink up a bit. Maybe we shouldn't put that stick back in there. I kind of made a mess out of the color in there, but sometimes I have a tendency to be extremely organic and not as that necessarily as neat as I could be. But I have to remember, like I told you, we're having fun, we're playing, and the little girl in me says, I think we're ready to print. No, I'm thinking, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, I've got my stencils here, and I can put them on the second round, but the dotted stencil is one of my favorites, that one. So, and I don't like to space it like right in the middle. I like to do a little corner or an edge or kind of break it up. I want to cut it in half, but that's not going to work because I need to keep this stencil. So I'm just going to put it over here like this. Now Okay, here's where we're going to look and see about our magic. I am going to put my fabric on. Now, as I'm looking at this, I try and very carefully space it so I'm laying it over the plate. And then, oh, remembering that I like to use a piece of paper over the top of the fabric because the paint seeps through the fabric. Or you could even use another piece of fabric because you're going to get some paint. And then I'm going to start from the middle and I'm going to lightly move it out, and you can see the paint is coming up through there, and we're going to get a little bit of an idea of what this is going to look like on our paper. So let's see what we've got on our paper. Ooh, we've got some bright, that's the paper. So my guess is we're going to like this fabric. So let's take a look at what we've got here. I'm going to put it right over here and take a look at that. Can you see that? Now, one of the things that I like to do is make sure that my colors go all the way to the edge. So there's a lot of color on this. So I'm going to put some of that all the way to the edge. And yeah, there's color there. And that way it goes all the way to the edge. Yeah, I like that. And I'm looking, I still got these really wonderful stencils here. Hopefully they'll be here when I get the heat gun done and we can use that paint. Or, you know what? How about putting it on some paper? So we're going to do that. We're going to put this on paper. Don't want to waste any of that paint. Ooh, that's lovely. We're going to put the stencil on there. Because there's paint on that stencil. Ooh. Put it over here. Put it over here. And then I've still got paint on my brayer, so I'm going to put that over there. And so not only do I have this lovely piece of fabric, I have some beautiful prints that I can work with and use as collage papers. So let's take a closer look at the fabric we created. One of the things that I think is important is for us to learn about what we've done and what we like and what we don't like. So I tell my students that their job is to find 3 things they like about what they've created, and then they can go into what they could improve next time. So as I look at my piece, I know that I like this side. I like the airiness. I like, oh, I love this blue over here. I like the colors, the glitter. And so if I was to recreate some more of this fabric, I'd look to leaving those more open spaces, and it makes me happy. So when I look at this, it looks like a big celebration. So when I think about what I might do with this, I think flags would be great. I think, how about napkins for a party? Because when you wash this, after you've heat set this fabric, you can wash it and it's going to look like the day we created it. So I am excited for you to go play and see what you do. And thank you so much for joining me today.